Hi there traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris. We have new June candles to review on the monthly chart, and of course we're going to do that on the euro dollar and pound dollar. Alright, so euro dollar monthly candle ended up in the doji, so some indecision on the euro dollar as price approached 115 support zone, and we already indicated that that could be a rough area where price might bounce because of this fib. Of course, the long-term picture remains a little bit difficult. Whether this is indeed the start of an upside and this is a correction remains to be seen, but the 50 fib area here, I wouldn't be surprised if it gives a bounce back up like this, as we were already indicating, and then perhaps a move down, and then we have to see how much pace, how much momentum is in this fall. If it is indeed an ABC like I expect, then price should slow down around the 61.8 fib and then start to bounce up again. So this particular indecision candle, doji of last month, could be the bouncing, perhaps bouncing spot, or maybe just a tad lower at the 50 fib for that wave B that I think will happen in the near future. So if we zoom into the weekly chart, we see two weekly bullish candles in a row now. We have HMA still down, but we have a clear fractal as well, and a couple of candles already not breaking that fractal. So it looks like a little bit like a double bottom. We have bullish candles, so I'm leaning towards a bigger bullish bounce. But one thing on the daily chart we need to mention is that there could be a bigger kind of sideways zone going on. We had here a push up, here a push down, here a push up. So that could indeed take place on the euro dollar as well. So from this perspective, if price gets up into here, what I was already expecting in multiple videos, then that could still be a big resistance level and zone. We have to be careful of that price could go bounce back down, and it could actually end still a wave 4 because we have strong momentum here. And all of this sideways movement could just be A, B, C for wave 4, hits this resistance, moves down for wave 5, breaks the lower low for a lower low, basically goes to 114.50, which we think is the 50 fib on that weekly chart. So that's definitely still a possible scenario as well. Or prices ended up at wave 5 here, and we're looking into a bigger kind of correction for that bigger wave B. For the moment though, both scenarios seem to suggest, in my view at least, that if price makes a little bit of a dip, that it has some space up to the resistance zone at around 118.40, 118.25, 118.50. So retracements at the beginning of July, I think, to the downside, I think could provide opportunities, counter trend reversal, higher risk opportunities for more upside up into that zone. And then it depends on how price will react in this zone, whether we get a bounce or we get some sustained breakout to the upside. For downside, I would not be interested in this break below the bottoms because, as I said, if you break below 115, the euro dollar then hits 114.50. There's very little space, only 15 pips. So I'm not interested in the bottom, the break of the bottom. That's why I personally was expecting a bounce in this zone, and that's indeed what happened. You can check the videos in the past weeks. So let's zoom back to the daily, and you can see the HMA is up, strong bullish candle on this daily chart. So let's go to the 4-hour world, and I think that if we get a retracement back to the 21 EMA, that could be basically a bouncing zone for the euro dollar on the hourly chart. There we go. We can see the same thing. I think price might dip below the 21 EMA on the hourly chart, but we could put a fib maybe from here to here, like this. 50, 50, 61, 38.2 fib could certainly be areas where the price bounces, in my view. Now, if price goes below the 61.8 fib, below 116, now it'll be a bit cautious again. And we'll have to see how price breaks below the 21 EMAs, because that could be a bit of a warning sign that the upside is not occurring, right? We had already here, I indicated that a correction below the 21 EMA would be not so interesting for me, but a correction back above the 21 EMA would, because that probably indicates the bigger kind of move up. That's what happened. So I think as long as it stays above or in the 21 EMA zone, it should be fine. If it re-breaks below it, that's a little bit of a warning sign, and we got to be careful that price doesn't indeed just finish that wave 5 right away. Maybe in that case, we're probably looking at some kind of descending triangle chart pattern, and that could break to the downside like this if it re-breaks here. All right, so that's about it. Keeping an eye on the support zone right here. I should use blue for that. And also, of course, I guess you could use trend lines like this. If it does break again, there could be just a further continuation on lower time frames. Maybe break, pull back, continue like that up to about these targets, right? Not a lot of space, but definitely some space. And then we'll have to see how price responds here. It depends on daily candles, 4-hour candles, how price responds to that zone. Pound dollar is pretty similar. We saw already kind of a falling wedge pattern here on the pound dollar, as you can see like this. Price bounced indeed off that bottom and showed some good momentum back to the upside. The difference with the pound dollar is that it did break this bottom, so more downside was possible. That's why I said put a fib from here to here, like this, and if it breaks above the 38.50 fib, then it's probably not a wave 4. That's what happened indeed with strong momentum. Also, of course, another clue is not only does price break above this fib zone, but how does price behave? How does it move up? Is it indeed like a corrective flag that more downside is likely? Or are there strong, bullish, impulsive candles? When that happens, a breakout, a reversal is starting to become way more likely than, of course, if we see a bear flag chart pattern. So the aggressiveness of these candles here was already a sign that more upside is likely. So at this point, I'm still leaning towards the fact that this was an ABC correction. Although technically we did not invalidate the wave 1 right here as yet, so it could officially still be a wave 4, but considering this strong price action, does seem a little bit less likely, and we are in a falling wedge pattern. So I think that from this perspective, more upside is also likely. Let's take a look at these time frames here. Let me renew this quickly. So we have not a very strong candle. Looks more like a doji indeed. We got wicks at the bottom. HMA is still down. And on the daily chart, we see that price is kind of making that falling wedge we already discussed. So pound dollar is a little bit less clear to me, but I'm leaning towards more upside as well on the pound, as long as it stays above this moving average, or if it breaks below the 21 EMA, then it has to be very corrective and choppy, and then I would like to see a re-break above the 21 EMA for more upside. All right, so something like this, and then like choppy kind of down and then up. That would be interesting as well. So for the moment, kind of same scenario and story on the pound dollar. If we see a bull flag like this and a break, that is, you know, an interesting kind of confirmation chart pattern that could indicate the reversal on the pound dollar, the bigger reversal. From my point of view, there's a decent chance that price completed 5 waves here, and that price might make an ABC back for a wave 2. But that's definitely not a must. It could be something else. It could be that this was a wave 3 and we're up going for wave 4. So if we put the fib from here to here, for instance, from this top to this bottom, let's assume that's a wave 3 rather, to be a bit more conservative. So upside could go, for instance, easily to a 38.2 fib, maybe a 50. 23.6 fib would be the first resistance spot, by the way, around 132.50, 132.75. So if we get a dip like this, all right, that would be the first stopping spot. Then if it breaks above that, it could go up to the 38.2 fib. If it breaks above that, then we might be looking at a wave 2 correction rather than a wave 4. But let's be conservative and for the moment assume that it could be a wave 4. All right, that's it for the June kind of summary of the monthly candles. If you're interested in more free material, check out our ECS.start package. And of course, you can try out our ECS Live service, where we have our setups and our ideas and analysis sent through the Telegram channel. You can find more info about ECS Live at elitecurrency.com. In any case, wish you all good trading and see you all soon. Cheers.